Hi, and welcome to NJ Gardener, Central Jersey Home Garden and DIY. My name is Bob. My wife JoAnn and I have been gardening here in Bridgewater, New Jersey, Zone 6B, for over 20 years now. So we have a lot of gardening experience. We wanted to start this YouTube channel to kind of share tips, share knowledge, garden tours, try to help out other local gardeners. So today I wanted to kind of go over some of the seeds we're going to be starting, some of the plants you'll be seeing if you follow along this channel. So I'm just going to get right into it here. Our first batch of seeds is from Baker Creek Seeds. A really good company. We've got some vegetables and some flower seeds from them. The first one we have is this broccoli Romanesco Italia. This is that really fancy looking broccoli. It's got kind of the little pointy heads with the little fractal surfaces. It's supposed to be really easy to grow and it's supposed to be very tasty, so hopefully that one will come out good. We also have Savoy cabbage. We've been getting very interested in doing fermentation, making our own sauerkraut, and this is a variety that's supposed to be very good for that. We've also got some bronze fennel. We've got a couple different kinds of fennel we're going to be growing. We're going to try to grow some for the fennel bulbs and also save some to grow and let go to seed for us and for the birds around here. We also have some Kikuzi squash. This is, as you saw from the picture, these are those ones, they're kind of thin, they can grow up to 3 feet long. Again, they're supposed to be very flavorful. You either harvest them early when when they're just maybe 6 to 8 inches long. It's supposed to be very sweet, very tasty. Or you can just let them grow for the full time and use them as gourds, or dry them and get the seeds for next year. We also have this tomato, yellow pear tomato. We've never grown those before or had them before, but this was a free seed that Baker Creek included with the order. Looks like they're probably around grape tomato size. Says they're mildly flavored, good fresh or for preserves. So we'll see how those go this year. We also have a couple of different varieties of nasturtium. We have orchid cream, which is kind of a dwarf variety. It only grows about 1 foot tall, which will probably grow in containers. And we also have this Yeti nasturtium. We're growing those for two things. We're growing them because they are, the flowers are edible, and I believe even the greens are edible, and we want to grow some more edible flowers this year. Also, I've recently seen some information that if you grow them with your brassicas, the cabbage, butterfly, and moths actually will prefer them to the brassicas, and you can kind of use those as a trap plant. So I'm going to try planting those amongst the brassicas this year and see if that has any effect on the pests, for the vegetables that we really want. I've also got some flower seeds from Baker Creek. This one's Salpiglossus Q Blue. Again, it's about a 2.5 foot tall plant. It's supposed to be deer resistant. If you're familiar with Central Jersey gardening at all, the first thing you ask when you're looking at a plant or a vegetable or a shrub is, how is it with the deer? So again, our backyard is fenced in. They don't really come into there, but it's always a challenge to find things to grow in the front and side yards, but this looks like it's going to be a good candidate. We also have a version of hollyhock. This is a jet black. We really like hollyhocks. They grow pretty well here and they're very decorative. Another one, I don't know much about this one, Navajo Sunset Agastache. But again, it's supposed to be very attractive to hummingbirds and pollinators, and it's also supposed to be deer resistant, and it should do well in this zone. We've got some poppies, which again usually do pretty well here. I haven't grown this variety before, the Amazing Gray poppy. It's also deer resistant, which is a good thing for us. And this was another one that Baker Creek threw in as a free one to thank for the order. This is a polar bear zinnia. It's a white one. We've grown a lot of a lot of different colors and varieties of zinnia. I don't think we've ever grown a white one before. And again, this is supposed to be pretty deer resistant, so we may grow that out near the front of the house. Okay, we've also got some seeds. I believe the company is Pagano. These are Italian. A lot of the instructions, a bunch of different languages in there. They all seem to have like an Italian version of the name. I don't know. I haven't done enough research to see if these are like really different varieties or whether they just slap a Italian city on them. But again, they look interesting. We've grown some things from them previously, and they've usually grown pretty well. I think we got these at Agway. So I'll go through some of these. Again, this is another fennel. It says it's the fennel of Naples. But again, I think we grew some of these last year and they did pretty well. We have the red Marconi pepper. Again, this is a sweet pepper. You can eat it green or let it go until it gets red. It's very flavorful. We have the San Marzano tomatoes. This is one of our favorite varieties. Grows very well here. We have a Pomodoro. This is one of those rib tomato varieties. I don't think we've actually grown one of those before. But these are supposed to be very sweet, so we're looking forward to see how these come out. Now you may notice a theme going through some of these vegetables. There's a lot of Italian herbs, the vegetables, spices. JoAnn is Italian, her family's Italian, so you know, she's very fond of a lot of these. We have a couple different types of basil from this company. This is a dwarf Greek basil, which we're probably going to grow in some containers we've got going. Again, it's a small leaves, small plant, but supposedly it packs a lot of flavor. And I think it's one of the preferred varieties for making pesto. Also this, which is called blistered lettuce leaf basil. Again, I don't know too much about it, but whenever we have the opportunity to pick up a different basil variety that we've never tried before, we always do. We're going to have a couple different varieties of zucchini. This one is a striped zucchini variety. Again, I don't think we've grown this one before. We have another pepper. This one's, they call it the Friarello pepper of Naples. It's a dwarf one. I believe this one this one you harvest when it's green. It's a sweet pepper. I think this is a good pickling pepper and a good frying pepper from what I remember. We have this Spigariello broccoli. It's a little different than a normal broccoli, and this doesn't come up to one big head. I believe it produces a lot of small heads, which you just then harvest, and then it produces more. And I think you can also harvest the leaves on this one. As you can see from the tape, we've actually started some of these already. This is a hot red cherry pepper. I don't think it's super hot. They don't have those, the degrees or whatever on there, or the measurement of the heat. And again, we're going to grow some hot peppers this year, but we're not like hot pepper aficionados. I don't think you're going to see any like Trinidad scorpions or Carolina reapers here. But we are going to grow some kind of mildly hot ones. We're going to try to make our own hot sauce this year. But we generally prefer the sweet peppers. This is one, the red square pepper of Asti. Again, ripens to a red sweet pepper. We're also going to try artichokes this year. We've seen at least one other gardener in New Jersey, Marvin's Gardens. He's grown artichokes and they seem to do pretty well. So we're going to try a few plants and see how they do here. And our last Italian one is this, the cantaloupe. I haven't done cantaloupe too much. They tend to take up a lot of space. So I think we're going to try growing these and trying to trellis them. growing them up a cattle pal or wiring or something so that they don't take up quite as much bed space. Okay, and now we have a batch from M.I. Gardner. If you've been watching gardening YouTubes, you've almost certainly come across Luke over at M.I. Gardner. And we picked up a few seeds from his seed shop. These is Napa cabbage. I think I mentioned before, JoAnn and I have started getting into fermentation, making our own sauerkraut. And I believe this particular cabbage is supposed to be really good for kimchi. So we may try making that once this is ready to harvest. Next one here is Italian dandelion. Dandelions do grow wild around here. I suppose we could save dandelion seeds and try to grow them. We just kind of felt it was safer just to buy a cultivated variety. And again, these dandelions supposedly have a ton of vitamins. So we'll see how they go. We also got a variety of amaranth, Love Lies Bleeding Amaranth. This is kind of a grain. I haven't decided yet whether we're going to try to grow it for the grain, but you can also eat the leaves of amaranth just like any other green. So we may grow these and see whether we like it better as just eating the greens, or whether it's worth growing for the grains. We may just let it grow looks like a pretty decorative plant, so we may just let it grow and let the birds have the seeds. We also wanted to do a pole bean this year, so we got a batch of rattlesnake beans. Again, these are kind of a decorative bean. You can either harvest them fresh like a green bean and eat them that way, or you can let them go and dry and eat them as a dried bean. And the last we have from M.I. Gardner is this saltwort. What is saltwort? I don't know. We came across it on the website. It's one of the dangers of M.I. Gardner and their seed shop is there's all kinds of stuff that looks really interesting. This is supposedly one of Japan's oldest vegetables, and they're known as land seedweed. Supposedly you can use it in stir fries, sushi, and salads. It's a fast maturer. It thrives in hot weather, which I think is one of the reasons I picked this one. Is a lot of your greens start to bolt in the hot weather, so I'm hoping this is one that, along with say the chard and a couple other things, will kind of keep us in greens through the hot weather of the summer. Okay, and the last couple I have today are just organic fairy morse seeds. We have another variety of zucchini, just the Black Beauty. We grow this every year. If we grew nothing else, we would grow Black Beauty zucchini and some beefsteak tomatoes and some basil. We really like the zucchini. Also, JoAnn likes the flowers. She'll eat them fresh or batter them or stuff them. So again, it's a very versatile, very high producing plant. We're also probably going to do some carrots this year. Not sure I've grown this variety before. It's a Danvers carrot. Again, I don't know how much different there is in carrot varieties, but this is an organic one that looks pretty good. And we're also going to do cauliflower. I haven't had a ton of luck with cauliflower before. I've tried it a couple times. Didn't really get a good head on it, but I think now that we've seen some more YouTubes, done a little more research, we ought to be able to have some good success with cauliflower. That's not every single thing we're going to be growing. We're still picking up some more seeds. We'll probably have some more tomato varieties, eggplants, some additional squashes, basically anything that looks interesting. So hopefully, if you follow our channel, you'll be seeing these as we're growing them and planting them and harvesting them and sharing information and tips so that you can have some success with your garden as well. So if you want to see these plants throughout the year, please like and subscribe. And if you're thinking about buying or selling a house in Central Jersey, visit JoAnn and I at www.joannandbob.com, and the link for that's in the description. Thank you.